Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm T with Teresa H Creates, and this is part 2 of the decorating portion of this no-sew accordion binding book that we've been working on. I did go ahead and put little markers here for all the little spots I need to take care of during this video, just to remind me, because this has gotten quite big. It looks fantastic though. So what I did do is go ahead and go through and work on inking up and kind of stenciling and stamping all of my signatures, and then attaching the middle inserts that are going to hold them in place. But while I was doing that, I thought, you know what, I'll go ahead and do one signature with you guys. So I saved one. I saved this guy here. And that's what I love about these. It makes it temporary so that we can remove them and work on them and then put them right back in. So let me go ahead and remove this entire signature. And then I'm going to set that to the side and then just show you what I'm doing. This isn't incredibly exciting. It isn't. I'm sorry. What I've been doing is just basically inking everything up. I'm using my scorched timber and my little inking foam. And I'm basically just inking up all of the edges of all of these papers to make them nice and distressed looking, even more so than they already are. A lot of them are dyed. Some of them are plain though and can use a little bit of extra. But I'm doing inside and out, paying particular attention to these outside edges that are going to be visible. Let me fold it open. I did want to go ahead and show this entire process though on one of these signatures, just so that you can see kind of how I'm decorating it and making decisions with these signatures as I'm going. And then I think that I also want to put tabs on them. They're not going to stick out terribly far, but I do want to go ahead and put tabs to indicate where they are. I don't think that you'll be able to see them once I get all of the laces and trim in the book. But I think if you turn it, you know, facing you, you'll at least be able to see where the tabs are there. And that way you'll be able to flip to the signature, you know, that you want. And I think it'll be a little easier. I know some of you have mentioned that you're following along. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate the support. Are any of you making anything yet? Has anyone started making anything? Or are you gathering stuff to make something? Or are you kind of waiting until the end of the project to see whether or not it's something you want to spend your time on? I mean, because it is, well, like any of these journals, it takes a lot. And this is the part I think that takes the most time, is really decorating these signatures. Of course, if you're going to add a lot of ephemera, trim and bits, but there's just a lot of thought that goes into that entire process, you know. I may cut some of this out, so don't be surprised if I skip ahead a little bit. I don't know, we're doing pretty good here. Got other things to do in this video, so I don't want to make it horribly long. I've been trying to make them, you know, bite-sized. That's why there are so many of them. And then that's just my instruction style. I really do try to condense these as much as possible. But here's the deal. I just have a really high need to know. Like, I need to know the details. I need to see it. I need to know all the steps. And that's just me. So then that's just kind of how I teach when I explain things. I give probably more detail than you actually want. But that's just the way I am. And for those of you who learn that way, and who are like me and have a high need to know, you want to know all the details. You fall into rabbit holes all the time looking into stuff. That is me. Then hopefully you can appreciate my madness here. I'm always in the weeds. I did go ahead and go through my my bin with all my trims and stuff and pulled out some stuff I think that might work. Hopefully we'll get to some of that at the end of this video. And then let's see, I think this one is already done. And then we've just got this guy here. And then something else I've been doing, already need to replace. I've replaced that foam twice already. This one is actually relatively new. You can see what I've been doing here, right? I didn't even clean up for you guys, sorry. Well, I didn't change the pad for you guys here, the paper pad, but I did clean up. It was actually quite messy. I had stuff everywhere. And then you can tell that I was working in just this section right here, as it always goes. I clean it off. I've got all the space in the world here, and then end up working in the tiniest little areas. I am not super neat when I craft. There are things everywhere, especially since as I'm going, I'll come across something and I'm like, oh, wait a second. I can do something with that. That'll make another great project. And then I start, you know, planning projects around other items. So I just took my little foam brush and I just went in and hit some of these spots here where it's got the crinkling so that it makes it just a little bit darker around those edges and kind of just grunges it up a little bit. See, just gets in those grooves and just grunges it up a bit because I haven't been stenciling on this paper. So let's go to my stencils. I find that I've been using several just kind of as my go-tos. This right here is my current favorite. It's my go-to right now. I absolutely love this. This was a Stamperia. It came to me in a mystery box from Root & Company. And I'm telling you, it has just been my favorite. So I've just been stenciling at random. I don't use any of the fancy tools to hold anything down. I have all the fancy tools. I have the little stencil holder. I have the mint tape that will hold your stencil in place as well. Do I use any of it? No, I don't. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? That's gorgeous. No rhyme or reason. I'm just feeling it out and hitting certain areas. I got this little part here that I bent at one point and it wants to pop up all the time. Get down here in this corner a little bit. It doesn't take a lot to make a big impact, but look at that. Isn't it beautiful? All right, one down. Let's try something else. This has been my other favorite. And again, just kind of hitting here and there. I've not doubled up on the stencils, like put more than one stenciled image on a single sheet. I haven't done that yet, but that's also an idea. I've just been keeping it like one stencil image per sheet. This is where that tape comes in handy. That tape that I'm not using. There we go. A little bit on the edges here. There we go. It doesn't take much at all. And then something else I have been doing is just adding a little something. I'm kind of just using the top part of this stencil. Just adding a little depth, some layers to these guys. I don't know if other than me and you guys would even notice that they're there. All right, let's set these aside. These as well. Let's go ahead and put the signature back into our binding. Where are we? There we are. This on the outside. Now let's see, we'll go with this guy. I don't remember what order I had it in, so I'm just kind of feeling it out. We'll put this guy It's so pretty. And then this one. All right, and then I don't put the holder back in there. I just kind of close it just to make sure it's going to look good. Make sure there's nothing, you know, awkward about it. Looks good. Visually looks good. Okay, now we've got to figure out a way to just close this off. If you plan on keeping yours temporary because you want to be able to add and remove pages as you go along, then you can do that. You can just put your little strip in there and it's removable, and you can continue to work on your pages for as long as possible, especially if you're making like an art journal and you're wanting to go in and take them out and individually do like mixed media stuff on them and not have them actually in the book, then do that if you want that option. Or you can make this permanent by closing it off, putting something here to close it off with. And then let's see, I've got some stuff. Not sure how I was planning on closing this off. I did have a plan though. Let me look through my stuff. Okay, it was all the way down here at the bottom. Couldn't find it. Okay, I've got all these little bits and pieces that I'm collecting here. Okay, I think I was going to do this, but then I remembered that I still have this guy. I think that I might make this my focal point instead of building this up like I was going to. Let me see. I do need to trim off one of these edges. So let me see one of these edges that I really like. I really like this edge right here more. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim a little bit off to make this edge straight. All right, so now I've kind of got a straight edge to sit here. And then let me make sure it's going to be the right. Yeah, see, it fits in there nicely, but it's not sticking out too much. Okay. So again, I want to pull it up, pull it taut, and then I think I'm going to do it this way. Take my glue. And this can get awkward. So if you find yourself struggling with it a little bit, it's totally normal. If this had been longer, that probably would have been better. Again, maybe if I had done a whole inch instead of just a half inch, it might have been better. But I'm kind of simultaneously pulling up and then also pressing down on this because I want it as close to the base of this as possible. Because when we pull it up, this is how it keeps it kind of closed here in the back, and it keeps it from flopping open. And that is what we want. All right, and that's one side. Now I've got to do the other side. I've got to close it up with something. Could close it off by putting this here and then just kind of adding something to it. Let me go ahead and add this to it. Let's see here. So we want it to be something kind of like that. I don't mind that it comes down off the edge of this, and I really like the raw look of this paper with this other handmade paper. What I am going to do is rough this up a little bit so it's not quite so clean and pretty with all this other stuff. So this is just my Tim Holtz de-stressor, and it's got a blade inside, and you just take it along the edge of this and rough it up. You do not have to have one of these fancy tools. If you have scissors, you can do the same thing. It will accomplish the same thing. Okay. And then, of course, we're going to have to ink it up. Get in there. And I'm so heavy-handed. That's probably why I keep going through these foams as much as I have been. Okay. Let me get rid of all these little foam remnants. They cause ink to spread. Okay. So then I'm going to place this down. It's going to come off the bottom a little bit, so I'm not going to take the glue all the way to the bottom of this. But this entire thing is going to go glued down onto that other handmade paper. And it's also going to be glued on that black strip. It's going to keep it between them. All right. So this is going to go down here. It's going to keep this strip right here sandwiched between these two items. So it's going to hold it in place permanently. There we go. Yes. A lot of texture, really rough. Look at that. Looks good. Looks really good. Okay, let's go back to this. So I added, I'm going to go ahead and put this closure down. That way that pocket's not flying around. All right, I have this. What I should have done is also roughed this entire image up before I put it down, and I did not, but I'm trying to get at least this edge, this opening here. So I did go and get that, and then I want to apply some ink to kind of distress this here. All right, and then I'm going to rough up the edges of this guy. Okay, I've distressed it. Let's go ahead and ink up these edges. All the paper fibers are flying around here. And then that's what the back side looks like. So it's nice and grungy. See, and it looks better. It already roughed it up. It looks better. I wish I had hit some of those. Oh, but you know what I can do? Because this is so pretty, it's so pretty and pristine, right? What I can do is I'm going to take this large nail file that I have here, and I'm going to distress some of the edges of this. I do not use this for my nails. It has always been kind of a craft item, craft tool. So it's like using your block of sandpaper, but it's a fine grit, right? Because it's for your nails. And we're just going to go through and rough this up a little bit. And I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to kind of hit it here and there. You can tell it's been used. Should probably go ahead and invest in another one. And then I'm going to go in and just hit some of that. I don't want it to be completely covered up, hiding the fact that we distressed it. All right. And then let's do some of this here too. Just get some of these corners so it doesn't look quite so pretty, right? You don't have to have a nail file. If you have some sandpaper in your stash that you want to use, go ahead, just go lightly. Just rough it up lightly. But that's how we can add some age to these images, you know, and still keep them looking nice. So there we go. And I do need to get some sort of little tab here. I did make some tabs, but I need something so that it's obvious that this is pulled out. I made these tabs out of that piano roll, so they're super thin and kind of delicate, but I like it. Look at that, and it's kind of already torn right here. It's fantastic. Looks great, right? Okay. And we will put that in there. Perfect. Okay. And so that was it. That's how we attach those permanently. Now I can't remove this even if I wanted to. So let me show you some of the others that I've done. Well, let's go ahead and look at these guys. I don't know what. Oh. Okay, this was a reminder that I needed to do something here. And this is where I was going to attach these guys because I wanted to add some texture. So I went ahead and, look, glued this strip to this black paper because these are quite, I don't want to say they're fragile, but they're really thin. They might be kind of fragile. They're really thin though. And I also wanted them to kind of have something because you can see here, you can see through all these little fibers, and I was going to double them up. So I kind of wanted something in the background. So I've got that black piece there that is going to hold them in place. And so I'm going to put one on each side. And I intentionally made this black piece smaller. That was intentional. Let me make sure I get this edge right here real good since this is at the base. So let's see. I need to line this up correctly. I don't mind if it sticks out a little bit. Okay. And then this is where I need my tissue because it does have holes. So there will be glue. But I don't want to glue it down to any of my pages that are next to it. All right, so let's give this a second and then we'll apply the other one on the other side. All right, see, that's going to fit in there nicely. Now I am going to glue this. I don't know that I'm actually going to glue the outside edges. I might leave those loose. I haven't decided yet. Let's just go ahead and get this attached and then we'll figure it out. Okay, these are measured at like right at the same height and width and everything. They were trimmed down together. So there we go. So I want to make sure that they line up. I did do another Google image search of this, and the only thing it said was tea-dyed rough paper. All right, there we go. Look at that. We've added a lot of texture just by adding those in there like that. So now that stays in place. Now let's see. I've got all this trim. I want to use this bit. Where do we put it? That was one of the others that I put down. That's a centerpiece. Let's go ahead and put it here so that we're covering up some of this that's in here. Let's do that. Let's cover some of these up. So pretty. All right, I'm just trying to clean my hands off as much as possible. My fingers are super inky. And I was worried that I was actually going to transfer, you know, as I'm gluing and my fingers are getting wet, I was going to actually transfer a lot of that ink. And we don't have to do a whole piece. Let's just do a part of this. We'll do it right up here. There we go. Lovely. All right, I'm sorry for the loudness here, but I've got some bits of this wax paper and I'm going to put those in there so that they don't stick to other pages while we're working through the book. So I apologize in advance. It is going to be nasty loud. Okay, but let's keep going. There are a few more of these. This is another one of those centerpieces. Look at this. This is a really heavy piece. That's kind of fun the way it hangs over that, but it's going to be too much for this. I need to stay smaller. Look. Isn't that pretty? What if I like it though? We're going to do it. I mean, that was the whole point, right? That's what I wanted. From the beginning, I said I wanted it to be, you know, nice and chunky. So I can't second guess now. All right. Let's cut it right there. That's so fun. As you're turning those pages, that's gonna flop back and forth. All right, I'm gonna put that down and then we'll keep going. Okay. So this is another one of the center signature pieces that locks that signature in. Did that one just not even have music paper? No way. It didn't have music paper. All right. Oh, I also took some of my vintage tape and taped up some of the areas that had like little torn bits. Okay, so this one does have music sheet, and then this one, and it's got that tear there from when I tore it out of the signature to begin with. So here we go. What do we do here? I do have this little bit of trim. Ooh, also got this. And that's what we're going to do. That is nice and grungy. I may cut that later. I'll decide. I'll decide later. Right now I'm going to leave that little gnarly bit hanging off there. Was that it? Nope, we got one more. And what was this in the center? Oh, so this is in the center of this. I'll decorate that up. And then this black back here is a velvet. And again, it says happy thoughts. I'll put something over that. I'll have to. It's going to drive me nuts if I don't. Is that too much? That's kind of a bit much. That was a bit much. Good call, guys. something different. That's too plain after everything that we've been doing. Okay, we could add some of this. Let's go ahead and do that. This is coming together so nicely. Hope you guys are liking this. I'm having fun grunging it up. Let's see what that looks like. Perfect. All right. I know that this is getting quite long already, so I am going to wrap it up in just a few minutes. There is another something that I want to do here. I do have all of these guys. All right, what I do have are these little tabs that I made that I want to put on the signatures themselves. Other than this number 1, the rest of these, there's no rhyme or reason. I just wanted something that was going to indicate where they began, you know, and that was it. So I'll start with number 1 on the first signature, but then after that, it's just going to be whatever. Let's have it up here. All right. And then I like the idea of each one of these having some sort of a label. I don't know. I kind of like this one down here. We can move them around though as we go through this. But I like the idea of a tab and a label. Okay, there's 1. Here is number 2. Number 2 right here. So 1, 2. This is why this is needed. Because I don't know. Well, okay, so that was 2. Let's see, is this dry yet? Yes. All right, and this is 3. Let's do this. This number starts with 3. Number 3. I'm holding them up just so that I can kind of line them up. So 1, 2, and then 3, even though they're not going to be incredibly visible. Okay, so that was our 3rd signature. Let's see how this is. Oh, we're good. Fabri-Tac dries pretty quickly. Okay, so this is 4. Let's go with this one. I like these that are torn up a little bit. Those add a lot, I think. All right. 4. 5. And then that's as low as I'm going to go. So that'll be the lowest one. Number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'll go back up to the top after this. All right, so this will be 6. And I'm going to put it in the same position as 1. Make it back in view. 6 and then 7. Let's see if this is dry yet. Yeah. That'll go right there. All right. Okay. Now they need labels. So I'd like to put a label on each one of them. So there's that one, and then here's 2. I think I'm just going to put a little to from label there. Not all of them have to be super special. I just want them to have a little something to indicate that that is the first part of the signature. All right, and then 3. See, it's already helpful. I think that this guy right here looks good. And then 4. And we'll put it down a little bit because right there is this right here, and it's got some lines and it says your name on there. So that's pretty cool. All right. 5. Let's do that one. All right, and then 6. Or I could do this really large one and put it down here like I did the other. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it right down there. So you can kind of see here. I didn't want to cover up that lady there. I'll put it right down there. And then 7. Oh, it slipped. That is what this is for. Okay, so this bag says thank you right here. And I ended up doing this druggist and apothecary stamps. And I did one in the black and I did one in the brown. And I think I'm going to, I'm sorry, the pine cone. I'm going to put that right here to cover up the thank you. And put it right in that spot. Perfect. So that is covered up. And then last one. Okay. Look at that. Look at how it looks. I think that this is not enough as far as the trim goes. There were 2 of these in here that I didn't have the music paper for, and so I'll have to find something else to attach something to. But the rest of these, look at that. It looks fantastic. All right, and then just so that we kind of have an idea, let's put our book back on here. So look at that. Oh, it looks fantastic. And it feels really good. It's not an alligator mouth or anything, which is what I love about this binding. It expands to help fit everything, and then it will open flat. So it's a perfect binding for making these larger journals. All right, that is it for this video. If you have any questions about anything that I did here, if you have some suggestions, or if you saw something I missed, because there is a lot going on, put it down in the comment section. If you're creating along with me, please let me know how it's going for you. I would love to hear from you guys. I've been enjoying the responses that I've been getting from the other videos, and you guys have all been really helpful, very encouraging. I love seeing that other people are following along. It's been fantastic. All right. In the next video, we'll work on the cover. That'll be the next one for sure. Thanks for spending some time with me, and until next time. Bye.